Ulysses t-shirt on, put it back on. I wanted to speak a little about what I'd like this Ulysses 2020 to be. I'd like it to be a discussion and not me just talking about the book and, you know, like a lecture. I don't want to do that. There's a lot of ins to this book, ways in. You don't have to be a Shakespearean scholar, or know Dante, or know Homer, or the Odyssey, or you know, Hamlet, or anything like that. It helps, sure. You don't have to know Latin or Catholicism. You don't even have to be Irish. But it helps. It would help. This is a difficult book. It really is. I encourage you to use secondary sources, all that you can. I'll include links below again in this video to the Ulysses Wikipedia, to Frank Delaney's podcast. He did a line-by-line analysis of Ulysses up until the middle of episode 10, Wandering Rocks. Maybe I'll just reread the chapters and then just kind of riff about them. And then if you have any questions, you can box me at Alan770 or make comments below. So, Martello Tower, it's now a Joyce Museum in Dublin, and I'm 6 foot tall, and I had to crunch down to get into it. It's very tiny. The walls are 8 feet wide, it's 40 feet tall. It's one of several towers that England built to keep France away back in the day. So they're living there, 3 people, Buck Milligan, Haynes, the Englishman, and Stephen Dedalus. And Buck Milligan, what do you think of Buck Milligan? Do you, Malachi Mulligan, do you like him? Do you not like him? Do you think he's funny? Do you think he's supporting Stephen? Or do you think he's, he has, well, he's kind of passive aggressive, isn't he? Because at first he's blasphemous for sure. He gives Stephen, you know, the blessing, opening of the Mass. That's the Latin. You can look it up, or I can tell you. So they do all that. There's a lot of symbolism with the bowl, several bowls up here. The cracked mirror is mentioned. He's wearing yellow. But so they go down to, well, first Mulligan brings up Stephen's late mother and actually blames him for her death. This begins 3 months after Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man. They go down to eat breakfast, and Haynes is the Englishman studying Irish culture and language and all that. He's the only one who speaks Irish out of the 3. Even the old woman who appears with the milk woman, she doesn't speak Irish. She doesn't, in fact, she hears Haynes speaking it to her and thinks it's French. The woman symbolizes old Ireland and several other things. So after that, we have, they take off. Stephen has to go to work. They go, Mulligan goes swimming, excuse my voice, swimming. When I was there, they actually had a sign that said, "No women allowed till after 11 a.m. because everyone's the men are swimming naked in the sea, the scrotum tightening sea. So Haynes wants to collect Stephen's witticisms and ideas into a book. A lot of father and son relationships going on here, like for example, Telemachus and Odysseus, Daedalus and Icarus. Let's see, Hamlet at the end. Stephen has a deep thesis regarding Hamlet. Actually proves that Shakespeare was Hamlet's grandfather. But we won't get into that because that's in Scylla and Charybdis, episode 9, during the National Library. Borrows some money. They're going to meet up at the Ship, a pub, later on that night. And the drowned man is going to reappear. There's a mention of Alec Bannon and Millie. Millie is Bloom's daughter, and she's working in a photo shop. So that's gonna come around again. And a bite of Inwit, that's remorse of conscience. That's gonna appear again. But yeah, okay, father and son relate. Hamlet and his father's killed by Claudius, right? And there's a line about killed my king and made a whore of my mother. Usurper. A lot of usurping going on. England usurped Ireland for 500 years before this takes place. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble. If you ever do go to Dublin, make sure you check out the Martello Tower. Like I mentioned, it's a Joyce Museum now, but you can tour it and you see the bed that James Joyce stayed in, and Hines and Buck Mulligan. That was real. That happened, and you can tour it. It's very interesting. I have pictures of them, but I don't have them handy. I have them close by. If you think Phoenix is close by. Thank you for your time. I shall see you soon.